So I know if you were watching me a couple of days ago, you would see that I was finishing the what I called the messy stage of my sculptures. Um, I'll just show you how they're drying now. Just one second. So do you remember the messy stage? They're now going a more of a darker colour because the fabric hardener that I used is drying nicely, and in the next couple of days or so, they'll be hardened off nicely and ready to paint. So yes, they're all coming on very well. This is the other one. I think I'm going to give her a little headdress as well. So she's Hecate. And do you remember I said about the run at the back that I was going to leave? So that's drying off nicely now, and that'll look quite nice when it's painted. It'll just give some um, extra magic, I think. So that's Hecate. So today I'm working with a different medium. Um, I'm working with oil paints. So let me show you a tube. These are the ones that I use. I mean, I know it'll be backwards on the video for you. So this is a Griffin Alkyd, Winsor and Newton, and they're an oil-based colour, but they have a fast drying medium within them so that they dry quite quickly. Traditional oil paints can take well weeks and weeks to dry. So I'm using these because, well, basically I've got to get myself moving because I've got a festival coming up very soon at the start of May, and I want to make sure that all of the paintings and sculptures that I've got as work in progress are ready to go. So I'm going to twizzle the camera around now so that you can see the unicorn that I'm working on. I'm going to go that way. So I've drawn in a few extra guidelines because I wasn't happy with um, where some of these shapes were. So I'm working on those now to finish. Just going to roll my sleeves up so that they don't get in my way. And I had to find my favourite brush. That's quite a good brush. And there's the other one that I like. These are my brushes. Got lots of different brushes to choose from, but you end up using, well, I do, always end up using exactly the same ones. So I probably only need about 5 of those. So I'm going to use this brush and follow my guidelines with some white paint um, just to sort out the shape where I'm not happy with the shape. So I'm mixing my white paint with a bit of linseed oil, and I'm just going to go over the areas where I know I want some white to show through. So these parts that I'm painting in here, I've used an acrylic pen for the guide, and then that allows me to paint around up to the guideline in the oil and not get lost with where the brush strokes need to go. So I decided that this back leg needed to come further over and just be a bit more muscular. I might bring it down here, you see. Sometimes when you paint things, it takes a little while to check that you've got the lines in the right place. But that's the beauty of oil paint, you see, is that you can just paint over something, if you're not happy with it, you can just paint over until you get the effect that you want, so you bring out the right shape. So I want the horse, because it's a unicorn, I want it to look far more muscular, um, and mystical. So it looks like really powerful. That's the word I'm looking for. I want it to look powerful. This is starting to feel better already. So it's starting to look more dramatic. So I'm just going to look at the comments and see if anyone's got any questions. So Pix has joined and says, so good and brilliant, and art is good. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. It's always a bit nerve-wracking painting live. Some people seem to, when they paint live, they just seem to like paint really fast, and they go, oh, just a bit there and a bit there and a bit there. But my work can be quite detailed, and so that's not how I paint. It's not expressive. It is fantasy, definitely fantasy-based artwork, but it needs to be accurate. Is that right? Can you say can a fantasy painting require accuracy? I suppose it can. Well, I would know, you see, I would know if the shape is wrong, because a unicorn shape is based upon a horse, and I used to paint lots of horses. Can pretty much just draw one freehand. I was desperate to have a horse when I was a youngster, when I was about 12 or 13. I just wanted so badly. I wanted my own pony. I wanted to go to gymkhanas and shows and things like that, and just hack out in the countryside. And I did learn to ride, but it's very expensive. If you don't have a horse and you're not in that kind of family where you have to go somewhere to ride, it's very expensive. That's another reason I wanted my own horse, actually. I just wanted to be able to like care for such a beautiful, magnificent creature. And I wanted to have that bond. That's what it was. I wanted to have a pony that I could get to know really, really well. Like how your pets. That's how I wanted to know my horse, so that we were in tune with each other and we could trust each other perfectly, which you can't really get with riding school ponies, because they're used to having all different riders. That's what they're there for. That looks a bit better. That leg just needed to be longer. So I'm going to come over here now and bring in a bit more musculature over there. Now this is going to be sort of an overly stylized almost, with the muscles, because I want it to look mythical. Almost like how the Greeks, the Greek artists would portray a horse, and they'd show them sort of overly muscular and toned, more than a horse would be. and that just gave them this feeling of power and mightiness. Yeah, starting to come together a bit better now. Equally with the light is also requiring to paint the dark, because if you want a nice dramatic effect, then you have to paint in the method called chiaroscuro. I think I've said that properly, which the painter Caravaggio was very famous for being able to paint in that style, and so his artwork was very dramatic, and it utilised the light against the dark and dark against light, and it's that brings things really popping forwards and makes them really a really dramatic scene. What's a white flesh on a really dark background, or really dark flesh against a really light background, really draws your eye into the piece. That's better. So I'm going to have to paint out this leg here because the direction was wrong. That looks more balanced to me straight away. I'm going to bring it up close so that you can see. So can you see what I've done there? So the original leg, if I can do it without touching, the original leg is here, and I'm painting the new leg in sort of more straight down here. It wasn't more on this angle and it didn't look right. So now I'm painting it straight down here, and that's starting to look much better already. So now I'm going to mix up a darker colour, and I'm going to use a dash of blue and some brown. Where's my brown? There it is. To make a grey like that. So that's the grey that I've made, and if you can see that on the end of the paintbrush. I'm going to mix in some white paint with that, and that's going to give me a nice grey for my more shadowed parts of the painting. once you get some shadow over on this side, you'll start to see the difference of the sort of the dramatic elements that it brings. Just adding a bit more darkness to that, make this grey quite dark here. I think I want just a touch more blue in there. Let's try that. Hopefully from the distance that you're viewing this, you can really see how the drama of the piece is beginning to open up. Because I'm working very close to it. Okay, now I'm going to go even darker. Starting to come together now. Just going to check the comments and see who else we've got joining. So we've got India. India said it's amazing. Thank you, India. Much appreciated. This painting is it's for an up and coming festival that I'm going to. It's called the Festival for Pagans and Witches, and it's in Coventry, and it's at the start of May. And I've got my little gazebo stall there. I had one last year, so back there again this year, which is very exciting. And have been busy building up lots of stock to make sure that I've got enough pieces. For me, as an artist, it's my big opportunity to get my work in front of lots of new people, but also to meet some of my existing collectors, because I'm pretty sure there'll be quite a few of them that will be coming to the festival. And I've got quite a few different pieces this year. Lots of new pieces as well. See where you start to get the light and shade coming together. it really starts to make the unicorn like really come forwards. And it looks quite sort of paint by numbers at the minute, but once I've finished laying in these blocks of colour, then I blend it together, and that's when sort of the magic really starts to happen. So when you're creating a painting, I always like to work with a direction of light. I know that sounds obvious, but for me here, I've got my direction of light coming this way. So everything on this side of the painting is going to be hit with the light. Even the trees that are sort of blended into the background, they all pick up the light on this side as the light comes down. And what that does is it gives the painting a 3D appearance. So I'm not far away from having the paint in the right places to allow me to start doing a bit of blending. And then it's just a case of working over and over, bringing out more and more detail until I'm happy with the finished piece. So I'm going to do just a bit more on this leg here, and then it's time to do a spot of blending. I'll show you how we go so far. So it's already looking a lot more defined now. And the key now is just to do just a bit of blending. So where is my brush? Where is that brush? There it is. So this is my blending brush here. And it's a very old brush. In fact, it's lost a lot of the bristles. So to blend, I have to have my cloth ready here. And I'm using just a very, very light touch. And what this does is it just ever so slightly softens the lines where the different colours meet. So it becomes less blocky, less paint by numbers, and more, well, joined up really. Okay, and now I can start working on the detail again. So this is where we've got to. I'm going to twiddle the camera around now so I can see you and talk to you. Hey. So this is the sort of the intermediate stage. I'm not happy with it yet. It's not finished. Maybe it looks finished, but it's not. It's not yet finished. So it's looking a lot more muscular and like really powerful, like a mythical creature should be. So I'll probably let that dry and then come back and work on a bit more of it. Do you think the trees at the background, do you think the trees need any more work? Or do you think they're sort of subtle enough so as to not detract from the unicorn? Don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you think that you like the trees, or maybe the trees should be a bit lighter so you can see a bit more of them, then let me know. So I'm Claire, and you've stumbled across my art YouTube, and I am busy building up my collection of art pieces ready to sell at the Festival for Pagans and Witches. So this is the unicorn, and interestingly, it's also going to be one of my oracle cards in my Spirit Messengers oracle deck that I'm developing at the minute. So this is going to be one of the cards. So all the paintings I'm doing now will become a card in the deck as well. So it's all very exciting and jolly busy. The next one I'm working on, I'll just show you the work in progress of this one in case you've missed it, is my woodland dragon. So yeah, loads more work to be done. So if I bring that in really close, you can see that there's a lot to be painted. From a distance, it looks like it's finished, but it's not. There's a lot of work to do on that one as well. So I'm going to crack on and finish the unicorn for today and then start working on the dragon. And if you've enjoyed watching, thank you very much for paying attention to my strange little YouTube channel. And I will be back in the studio again very soon. Please do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed watching this, because it really helps me as an artist to get my name out there and get in front of more people. And it's lovely to see you all too. So I'm just going to look at the comments and say cheerio to everybody. Let's see if I've got any other comments. Yeah, everyone's saying thank you very much. So, okay, enjoy the rainy afternoon, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.